hairy, and smelly. But Thorfinn is no ordinary Viking. Thorfinn and his ragtag crew set sail for Orkney to catch fish for the chef catapulting king of Norway. Can the Vikings can the Vikings prepare feast fit for a king, or will head chef Thorfinn, the nicest Viking, be flung into the sea? Warning: don't read this book if you don't like burping or wrestling. P.S. Also contains fist flinging, poisoning, and earwig pie.
Oh, it sounds pretty gross, but is it pretty funny?
Yeah.
Yes, Harika, go ahead and get your breakfast. Well, that sounds really interesting. If anybody would like to read a book about the Vikings, Tigers looks like a really cool one to get. Thorfinn, what is it called again? Not the Last Viking. Thorfinn, the nicest Viking, and the Disgusting Feast. So there's multiple of them, right?
There's 6.
6 in the series. Very cool.
Good morning, Miss.
Good morning, Samhita.
Is it okay if I eat breakfast because I...
Certainly. Well, it's great to see everybody. We've got a pretty full day today. We've got an exciting new part of our literacy starting today. We are going to begin learning cursive today. Cursive writing. So we're going to get started on class right away. Just jump right in. Would you all join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance and school motto?
I had a feeling good. I knew Miss Campbell.
And we will begin cursive very soon. Okay. Please join me in saying the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor. I will honor those things which are good, true, and beautiful. Respect. I will show respect to others at all times. Service. I will do good things for others without being asked. Excellence. I will strive for excellence in all things. Perseverance. I will fulfill commitment and not give up or act on discouragement. Please join me for a moment of silence. Okay, well, let's get started on a great day today, beginning with some spelling practice, and we will start cursive very soon. So I hope you guys are excited about that. We'll talk about it more in just a bit. But we are going to still do spelling always first. Even as we're transitioning to doing some cursive, we'll still start with spelling. Oh, Lena, you watched Mrs. Campbell's video. Nice. Well, I'd like to try to do ours during our live time so that we are able to do it together and I can see your writing. However, if there ends up being not enough time, it may be the case that I have to do separate videos like that. But if possible, I'd like to do it all together so I can see what you write. Okay, on your whiteboard, let's do some phonograms together first. And we will always write in print until I say start writing in cursive. So even though we are going to begin learning cursive, you don't know the letters yet, and so we don't want to get into a bad habit. We'll still write in print during our spelling time. Okay,
I know
first phonogram.
because I
What, Marcus?
in first grade for it.
You learned a little bit of cursive already?
Same.
Oh, good. Now, it might be a little bit different if you learned cursive at a different school. So again, we're going to hold off on doing any cursive until it's actually cursive time so that you can see what the new letters look like. Just like our print letters might look a little different than what some other schools teach. And yes, Josiah and Arianch, a few of you have the dotted lined whiteboards, that is going to be so great for practice, because just like when you learned clock letters for the first time, print letters, it's helpful to have that dotted line to make sure you know exactly how far to go up. That's going to be a really good resource. If you don't have any paper or a whiteboard with the dotted lines, it's okay. We'll still make do. But it's better if you have something with those dotted lines. First phonogram today is E-A. Please write E-A. Very good. Next, please write the phonogram E-I. The nickname for this is E-I, piece of pie. We say E-I, but we write I-E. Thank you for holding it up quickly after you're done. Next is ooh. I like to call this one ooh, just ooh. Not ooh you, just ooh. For those of you who are feeling stuck on this one, it's ooh as in fruit. Think of that. Ooh like fruit. Good job. I see a couple people wrote ooh. That's a different one. Not ooh in book. This is like ooh in fruit. Very good. Harika, you still have ooh. This is ooh, just ooh. And Marcus, you are so close, but you flipped your letters. Would you change it to the direction of you, then I? Very close. Yes, Ty? Next phonogram is A for letter A.
I used to think can I write down what I thought cursive used to be? It'll take me a bit, but I can still write down.
How about you write like one word, and yes, you can show it to us.
Okay. I'll do my name.
Here's
and what I used to
for
think.
letter A. Okay, let's see it. I'm going to guess it's like a big scribble, because sometimes when adults sign their names, it doesn't even look like a letter, right? It just looks like a giant scribble.
That's what my dad does.
Okay, after A for letter A, please write I, three-letter I. I, three-letter I. Oh, like kind of bubble letters? That's funny. Okay, last phonogram after I, three-letter I, is O-U, Uff, Off, Aw, Ow. Alexander, do you have a question?
After literacy, can I teach you a song about IGH?
How about you teach it to us right now, since we just wrote it.
So it goes, IGH says IGH says I. Hi ho the dairy do, IGH says I.
That's cute. IGH says I. IGH says I. Hi ho the dairy-o. IGH says I. And here's our last one. O, ooh, uff, off, ah, ow. Would you say the sounds with me? O, ooh, uff, off, ah, ow. Oh, ooh, uff, off, aw, ow. The
Ooh.
phonogram with the most sounds in the English language. Yes, Alina?
This guy oofed just now. Oof.
Okay, that is all the phonograms for today. Let's get started on some spelling words now. The first one is senatorial. Senatorial. The base word is senator. Senatorial. Looks like this. Check that your spelling matches mine. Next, please write the write the word respect. Like, I will show respect to others at all times. Respect. After writing respect, please write respectful, adding the full suffix. How many L's are in the full suffix? Just one. Respectful. Okay, now 3 more words. First, the word agree, and then we're going to write the 2 words that we can make by adding a prefix or suffix. Arshad, do you know what one of them is? Adding either a prefix or a suffix to agree. Add a suffix to it or the prefix to it to get one of the other spelling words we had. Do you remember?
Prefix?
A prefix is what we would put before the word. Do you remember another spelling word we had?
Agreement?
Very good. Adding a suffix meant. We've got agreement. That turns it into a noun. Agreement. And the last one we'll be reviewing, we'll add a prefix to agree, and it makes the word mean not agree. Ariansh, do you remember what prefix we add to make it not agree?
Dis.
Excellent. The prefix dis means not. So the word is disagree. That prefix dis means not. And that's the last spelling word we'll review today. So as soon as you're done checking your spelling on that, check your spelling on all of these, and then we'll put our whiteboard away and take out a piece of paper for a new spelling lesson. And we'll be using the same paper for our spelling lessons, also for some cursive. So we'll do that as soon as you're done with the lesson today.
Oh boy.
Alina, are you ready for some cursive? You'll be so great at it because you have perfect handwriting.
Okay, thank you.
So many of you have excellent handwriting, so I think it will really translate well over to cursive as soon as you get used to it.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
You do have excellent handwriting, Alina. Okay, let's get started on our new spelling lesson. Want to get our binder out. Our first word for today's lesson is going to go with two words from last week. Oh, Tig, I liked the pictures to represent what each of those mean.
I erased my pictures.
Okay, Alina, please don't unmute yourself without permission again, but that's fun to have some pictures as well. Okay, so we had the word ignore last week, and we turned it into an adjective, into a word which means really not knowing much. Who remembers what that word is? It's an adjective meaning that you don't know or you're ignoring some details. Ariansh, do you remember what that word is?
Ignorant.
Excellent. That's a word we saw a lot in Black Beauty, right? Because Black Beauty talked pretty often about ignorant drivers or horse riders being ones that are not paying attention to the road, for example. They are not paying attention to if the horse gets hurt, if a stone gets stuck in their hoof, anything like that. They're basically ignoring things around them, which can be very bad and dangerous. Now, we're going to take that word ignorant and turn it into ignorance, basically changing it from an adjective to a noun. You could have ignorance, or you could be ignorant. Okay, so that same base word, ignorant, but we're going to drop the t and add a k, which makes it second sound because it's followed by a silent final E. Sound it out with me. Ignore ants. Ignore ants. The only part that changes is that third syllable. So it's at-n-s, which is a k, saying it second sound because of followed by silent final E. Okay? I'll sound it out with you again as you write. So pick up your pencil to write ig, syllable break, n, or, it's that two-letter phonogram, or, syllable break, a-n-s, using k, saying its second sound because it's followed by a silent final E. Thumbs up if you finished writing the word. Ignore ants. Or the way we would pronounce it, ignorance. Meaning having that quality of not knowing information or ignoring things around you. Okay. Time to write it. Ig, syllable break, n, or, syllable break, n, s, silent final E. Ignorance. But we say ignorance. Dikshita, could you unmute yourself and tell me what markings you think we need in the word?
For the second syllable, there you have to underline the or.
Yes, very good. And we say ignorance. So what else?
Thinking cap.
Excellent. Over here, ignorance is the way we say it. or ignorance?
Thinking cap for the A.
Excellent. And what about our CE ending?
Double underline the E.
Very good. Excellent, Alina. Third job of that silent final E. And what about our cooks?
Underline.
Excellent. And a 2 on top since it's the second sound. This word is a noun. And you see the CE ending, almost always it's a noun. For the next one, our next word is interfere. Would you say interfere? Interfere. Has anybody heard this word before? Interfere with something, right? What do you think it means? Maybe you've heard it in a sentence before, you're not quite sure exactly, but Arianch, what do you think this word means?
To get into something when you don't need to get into that.
Well explained, yes. For example, if you have a couple of friends fighting over something and you get in the middle of that situation that you're actually not part of, that's interfering. Or if any of you watch football, this word is used in the next one we're going to see, interference. To interfere would be to catch the ball of a different team. Or have any of you played monkey in the middle? Right? In monkey in the middle, somebody's in the middle trying to interfere with the ball or whatever's being passed across, right? Interfering is that you're in the middle of something and trying to stop it. Not that type of monkey, Marcus. Although I guess that's why it got its name. Really thinking of a monkey in the middle of something. Can you give your best monkey impersonation? Very good. Okay, say interfere with me, please. Interfere. 3 syllables. The first 2 syllables are just like interrupt. And this word means something pretty similar to interrupt, so keep that in mind. Okay, interfere. We have in, 2 sounds, basic code. To, 2 sounds, the of her. And last syllable, e-er, 3 sounds. E says its name because of a silent final E, job 1. Interfere. Pick up your pencil to write it, please. Meaning to interrupt or get in the middle of something. As Arianch said, that you don't need to be there, but you're getting in the middle of it. Yes, Arsha?
By the way, what you said about football, it's not called they don't interfere, it's called an interception.
Oh, yes, it is an interception, but it means something pretty similar to this. Good point about that, though. Thank you for mentioning that. It isn't technically called that, but this is a very good synonym for it. And that's an interception. I'm trying to think an interference is if there's something else that kind of gets in the way. Like, say there was a dog that ran into the field, right? That's an interference. Or same thing if like you're watching soccer as well. There's something that shouldn't be there that's getting in the way. Yes, Ariansh?
Especially in a baseball game when a parachute guy just jumps out of nowhere and comes into the middle of the game.
Oh my goodness. You've actually seen that?
Yes, it's a I think it's someone who just jumped from a plane and he has this big parachute and landed in the middle of a baseball game.
That would be a very interesting thing to witness.
Oh
That
yeah.
is definitely an interference. He did not need to be there. He just is getting in the middle of things
In one
where he does not
football
belong. What's that?
in one football game, actually a black cat came into the field
Oh,
one time.
that symbolizes bad luck. I wonder what that means in the game. Okay, so interfere, and thank you for that, Arshad. Those are all good examples of interfering. A black cat or a parachuting person does not belong at a sports game. That's getting in the way. Let's underline earlier of her. E says its name because of a silent final E, job 1. Those are the only markings. Interfere, which is a verb. Yes, Tyke?
So I was watching AFV, and one of the one of the clips was it was it was at a baseball game, and like a bloodhound just like shot out onto the field
Whoa.
and started running around in circles, and everybody tried to get it to stop, and it never did. It was very funny.
I bet.
The clip lasted like 3 minutes.
Nobody could get the dog for 3 minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
That sounds very entertaining. I bet they
and
have
that's sort of
a
and that
bunch
sort
of
of feels like my
videos
friend.
of funny interferences. Okay,
And
we'll
that
continue with our next word, which is interference. So we're going to move that silent final E to the next syllable as part of an ence suffix, like ignorance, but this time it's ence with an E, okay? So please write interference. Yeah, as expected, I was making a quick Google search to see if there are some good videos with the funniest interferences in a game. And there are definitely some YouTube videos with a bunch of funny things that happen in the middle of like a soccer game. So that might be a fun thing to do when you're done with class today. Okay, interference. Thumbs up if you finished writing the word. Here's interfere, now interference. Thumbs up if you finished. Okay, still waiting on some people, it looks like. Remember for this one, interference is going to have the same pattern as ignorance. Okay. Syllable break. Syllable break. Syllable break. Silent final E. Interference. We kind of say the R in the next syllable, but we try to keep our base word together in our syllable breaks as much as possible. So that's why it's there. Okay, Alexander, could you help me think of the markings for this word?
All right. So N is basic code.
Good.
Go to the next syllable. ER
is so you underline it.
Good. 2-letter phonogram.
For you underline it because there's another ER.
Okay, so close on this one. It's actually E saying its name, and it would be in an open syllable, but we're keeping the base word together, so we're keeping the R there. So we just underlined E saying its name.
Okay.
And now over here.
I think it would be a job 2.
The silent final E.
Yeah.
It's a job 3 for C and G saying the second sound. Close. Okay, and then what about the C? How do we mark K-S?
You put a 2 on top.
Good. And underline it because it's the reason for the silent final E. Interference, just like ignorance, becomes a noun when we have that suffix. Okay, last word. Just one more word today. Our last word is patient. Would you say patient? Now, there are 2 main types of patient. Raise your hand if you know one type of patient, one meaning of it. Tyke?
Okay. There's patient, like a doctor has a patient, and I also know a joke about that.
Okay.
Why was the doctor mad?
He lost his
Because
patience?
Yes.
Oh.
Then there's also the other kind where, like, I am sitting patiently.
Yes, exactly.
Or like I'm being patient.
Very good, which means like to possibly wait for a long time without getting anxious and worried. Or if somebody is being mean, being patient with them means that you forgive them and are calm and kind about it. Right? Hopefully you guys are patient with like your younger siblings. So I know quite a few of you have younger siblings who are babies or toddlers, and you've got to be patient with them because they're younger than you and maybe they don't know certain things. Okay, but as Tig mentioned, there's also a patient like a doctor's patient, who is a person who goes to the doctor. Okay, for patient, sound it out with me. Patient, 2 syllables. In the first syllable, pa-a. A says its name in an open syllable. In the second syllable, what sound do you hear? Sh-a-n-t, 4 sounds. Which phonogram makes the sh sound in this word? Who knows? Impatient. Aryansh?
Tall letter sh.
Perfect. You'll use sh, tall letter sh, used at the beginning of syllables after the first one in this syllable. Pick up your pencil to write patient, please. A syllable break. Sh, a, n, t. Patient. Cross it out and rewrite it if your spelling does not match mine. And Josiah, could you unmute yourself and tell me the markings in this word?
Of patient.
Yes, please.
So A, you underline it.
Very good at saying its name.
And there's the tall letter sh, phonogram.
Very good.
And
We're going to underline it since it's 2 letters.
The S saying the S sound. Sleep with a thinking cap.
Okay, very good. I'm actually going to check the manual on this one, and they don't thinking cap it, even though you are right that a lot of times we say an I sound, patient. But we're going to stick with what the manual says. We should be saying patient, kind of an S sound. Okay, and Josiah, I'll have you also help with the parts of speech. Now, what would the word be if I said, like, the patient little boy waited for his mom to come home? What part of speech is that?
Adjective.
Good, adjective. Now, what part of speech is it if it's like the doctor's patient waited outside the office?
Noun.
Good, noun. Noun if it's the person, like at a doctor's office, and adjective if it's used to describe someone who like waits without getting upset and who's kind to another person. Excellent job. Okay, we're going to actually take a little break from writing dictated sentences today, and possibly for the next week or two, because I want to make sure we have plenty of time for some cursive. Okay, so we're going to be, instead of writing a dictated sentence, doing some cursive next on your same paper. Now, today we are going to learn actually no letters, but just some connecting strokes is what we call them, which means this is some of the main ways that we kind of start writing cursive. Cursive is an altogether different way of writing some letters. And then with other letters, they look really similar to our print, but we have ways of connecting all letters to one another. Now, cursive writing is very fast once you get used to it, because you never pick up your pencil until the end of writing a word in cursive. All of the letters are connected. So as you get older, I think you'll really like it because, for example, when you take notes in junior high or high school, in college, some of that might be done on the computer, but what you do with just pencil and paper, it's easier to do it in cursive because you never pick up your pencil. So like when writing your name, you have to pick up your pencil every time you start a new letter. But with cursive, it just flows right off the page, and so it's much faster. It's also a really beautiful form of writing. That's what our founding fathers used, and it's what a lot of people throughout history have used primarily, and it's really good to be able to know how to read cursive handwriting as well as write it. Okay, so I hope that you guys are really going to enjoy this. It's a beautiful new form of writing. Once again, most of the letters look similar to print. And today we're going to look at how to write the strokes that basically connect all those letters so that every letter is connected in a word. Sorry, just a minute, I'm pulling it up. And let me present my screen again. Yes, Harika?
When I was so I knew a few letters in the cursive, and then this is what I thought my name should be in cursive.
Oh, well, that does show connecting all the letters, but it's not quite correct for some of those. But very nice.
I know R and I, but I don't know the rest of the letters in the alphabet. And also I know T.
Oh, good. Okay, so my page here does not have, obviously, these dotted lined letters. But what I would like to do to still practice kind of the placement in the line is to create some dotted lines, but it's going to take up 2 lines instead of 1. Do you see that? I would like you to do the same, and this also gives us more space to practice. And I'll actually do that a couple of times. So I'm making 2 lines into basically 1 line so that we've got a very clear spot for the middle of our line. And once we get used to this, we'll start writing it smaller, but I want you to see what it looks like to write something around the middle of your line. Okay. Our first connecting stroke is the way that we start some of the lowercase clock letters like A, C, D. Those are called clock letters in print writing because they're round like a clock. We go around and we have even specific ways we say, you know, we start at 2 o'clock, then we circle around. Well, cursive letters like this start at the bottom baseline.
Why does this thing keep on muting me?
I don't know, Tig. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to start at the bottom baseline here. And we curve up to the dotted line and start to circle around. Okay, it kind of looks like an S that's been drawn way out. Again, starting at the bottom baseline, curving up to the middle dotted line, and then going from about 10 on the clock to 12 to 2. Okay, imagining that there is a clock here. Okay, so practice writing that a few times going across this line. This is the way we start letters like A, O, and C. And then hold up your paper when you are done writing at least 5 times this connecting stroke. Okay, there's 5 times for me. Try to match yours to mine as best as you can. And then hold it up. Okay, Tig, the last one you did was excellent. Can you do a few more just like that one? Unfortunately, the internet connection is not great, so I'm having to pin each screen to see if you're showing your writing. So hold it up for quite a while. I know that your hands or arms get a little tired, but thank you, Alina. That looks great. And once I call your name and say something about your paper, you can put it back down. Alexander, that looks nice. Make sure you go up to the middle dotted line each time. Aryancha, I'm pinning yours. That looks excellent. Samhita, I like the look of yours. And Kruthi, Arshad, that looks good. Dikshita, I'm pinning your screen. Can you hold it a little lower? Oh, very nice. Great job, Harika and Tig. Yes, just make sure you're being slow to make sure that you don't go below the baseline or above the middle dotted line. Marcus, could you hold yours back up? Sahanasri, that looks great. Rishith, I'm pinning yours. Can you hold it a little higher? Okay, now a little lower. A little lower still. Okay, nice. The only thing I'm going to say about yours, Rishith, is to try to go a little bit more to the right as you curve, okay? So instead of this, try to kind of draw it out a little bit more. Okay, Marcus, can you hold yours up when you're done? And could you hold it a little closer to the camera? I can't quite see it. Okay, could you lower it a little bit? I know it's hard with the binder. Maybe it could be easier even if you took it out of the binder for a second. But let's try this first. Okay. A little closer, it's just quite fuzzy. Oh, yes, now I see it. Thank you. That looks good. Okay, so that is the first connecting stroke. We're going to do 2 more. We won't spend quite as much time on these next 2. Now, this is the clock letter connection that is not the way that we start any letters, but it would be, for example, if we are connecting O to a letter like in the word octopus, connecting the O to the letter C. And the way we do this one is we start at the middle dotted line and then curve down, up, and down again, like a squiggly. So start at the middle dotted line, go down, and then up and down again. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. Practice a few of those all the way across. Nice job, Samhita. Yes, Risha?
Can I show my name too?
Yes. Oh, that looks really nice, Risha. That is very close to the way that we are going to be writing our letters. Let's not write our names yet so that we can go through what they are going to look like. But okay, Josiah, I need you to practice this a few more times, starting at the middle dotted line, curving down and not very much, and then curving back up. It might be good for you, Josiah, to, let me make a little note. I think that it could help you quite a bit to have some dotted line paper that you use to practice. So I'll post some to Bright Thinker in case your parents can download it so that you can practice writing on dotted line paper. Okay, that looks nice, Aryansh and Dikshita. Okay, let's do one more connecting stroke now. For this connecting stroke, it's the one we use to start a letter that's a tall letter. Tall line letter is what we would call them in print, like T and L, right? It's going to go past the middle dotted line. Now we start down here at the bottom baseline and we curve up. Okay? Start at the bottom baseline, curve up, and this part should be a straight line. This is a tall letter swing up. So you swing up, moving in the direction we read and write, That's not a very good one. I'll cross that out because it needs to be a little bit more curved to the right. This is the way we would start any of those tall line letters like T, L, B, F. Okay. So curve it to the right, curve it to the right, and swing it up. Nice, Amhita and Harika. It looks kind of like a letter J, capital J, but it needs to be a little bit more curved to the right. Ty, can you practice curving yours a little bit to the right more? You see it kind of slanting. Okay. So unfortunately, I can't see everybody's screens. Even when I'm pinning some of you, I can't see it. But from what I do see, these look very good. We do want to kind of slant it a little bit more. Some of you are writing it straight up and down. Make sure you slant it a little bit more. And that's pretty common in almost all of the things we do in cursive, is that they're a little bit slanted to the right, like these as well. Okay, nice job, everybody. You learned your first 3 connecting strokes. We'll learn, there's just 2 others that we will learn tomorrow, and then we'll get into some actual letters, and we'll learn a few letters a day once we start that. Great job. Okay, we are going to not do any well-ordered language together today. It is not a new lesson. You will have some pages to do for homework, but it's just review. So on the first pages, you're going to be reviewing some object pronouns, connecting a verb with an object pronoun like this: Fritz will catch him. So you'll just write 4 sentences using some of the verbs over here and an object pronoun. And then you've got some practice of sentences to analyze, saying our object pronouns. Say them with me. Me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them. And some contraction practice. This is all review. A lesson to review. Okay. So you'll do that on your own. I want us to have plenty of time for math today, and we've got a few roots to do as well. Okay, it is time for us to take out 2 index cards for roots today. And then we'll write some of the words or the words from today in our orthography notebook. This is a great time to stretch and move around for a little bit. You guys did really well with that whole spelling lesson, transitioning into cursive practice. Great job. In just a few weeks, you will know all of the cursive letters and be able to write your notes in cursive, your name in cursive. It'll be an excellent feeling. And once again, it's going to be exciting because it's faster than other cursive writing. Oh, Alina, let me see what you are holding up there. Is it some practice paper? Excellent. Okay, so if you, like Alina, have anything that is dotted line paper, you are welcome to use that for your practice. I will have some paper that I can post to BrightThinker as well with some dotted line paper. But you'll have to print it off if you want to use that kind. Excellent. Ariane has one too. This is a great time to do that you can keep track of all of the cursive letters, as well as when we start doing some sentences in cursive, you can use that for it. You know, I might also recommend that to your parents, all of your parents, that if you could get a little cursive practice book like that, it would be really best. I love that, Arianch and Alina. Those look so great for our practice. Okay. Little stretch time. We are going to get into some roots and orthography next. And let's do a little Ella Telephony practice to kind of take our minds off of things that are happening on the computer for now and off of our writing. Would anybody like to do our Ella Telephony poem? Okay, let's start with Harika, and then I'll have Arshab also do it.
Ella Telephony by
Laura Elizabeth Richards.
Laura Elizabeth Richards.
Take out 2 index cards.
Once there was an elephant that tried to use the telephone. No,
I mean an elephone.
An elephant who was using the telephone. Dear me, I
am not certain quite. I am not certain quite that even now.
I'm not certain quite that even now I'm not getting it right.
However it was
the elephant.
He got his trunk.
Tangled in the
telephone.
The more he got it free, the louder buzzed the telephone.
I fear I'd better drop the song.
Of Ella Funk and Telephone. Ella Telephony by
Laura Elizabeth Richards. Great job. Okay, let's have Arshab do it next. And as he's doing his poem, you can take out 2 index cards for roots for the week.
Ella Telephony by Laura Elizabeth Richards. Once there's an elephant who tried to use the telephone. No, I mean an elephone who tried to use the telephone. Dear me, I'm not certain quite, but even now I've gotten it right. However it was, he got his trunk entangled in the telephone. The more he tried to get it free, the louder it buzzed the telephone. I fear I better drop the song of Ella Hop and Telephone. Ella Telephony by Laura Elizabeth Richards.
Excellent, Arshab. You've got it memorized completely. Well done. We'll continue recitations and practice throughout the week, and you need to have it recited by Friday. I'll post a Bright Thinker assignment pretty soon so that if you are ready to go like Arshab and you already have it memorized, you can videotape yourself early on for the week and just have it done. Okay, time for some new roots. Now, last week we had a derivative pronoun, which means in place of a noun. And the noun part came from nomen nominis. Well, today we're going to look at the Latin pro. So you'll write on your first index card, pro, just as we would think, P-R-O, pro. And this is a Latin base, so we're going to put a red border. Red for Roman, basically. Okay, so our word is pro. Now, this is a very short Latin word, but it has quite a few meanings. So on the back of pro, you're going to write a bunch of things. For, before, forward, or in place of, which is what we saw with pronoun, in place of. So this can mean a few different things. It can mean for, before, forward, or in place of. Marcus, are you okay? Do you have a headache, bud?
Yes.
Or are you just tired?
No, I'm just sleepy.
Oh, okay.
I'm sleepy.
Well, if you want
I woke up
to
at
take a
3
little
a.m.
break, you want to take a little break to do some jumping jacks and then come back to your spot to write? That might wake you up. Okay. So pro means for, before, forward, or in place of. I'm going to write it in the chat as well. And we are going to look at one derivative of it. Now, pronoun, the derivative you learned last week, it really goes with both of the cards. We're not going to write that one again. But a new derivative we're going to look at is profess. Profess. Has anybody heard this word before? To profess something means to say that you're an expert at it. You might think of like pro athletes are professionals, which we're going to get to. To profess something means you're admitting that you're an expert. To admit that one is an expert is what we're going to say for this. This is how we get the word professional. Like a professional baseball player professes or admits they're the expert or one of the experts in their field. A person who has a PhD, they are an expert in their field, and there is whatever field that they studied, they are the expert in that area. Yes, Samhita?
From profess, we also get the word professor.
Oh, excellent connection. I was about to say that, and you beat me to it, Samhita. That's great. Professor. Is a professor an expert in an area? Yes. A professor is a teacher in universities, and they are an expert in the area that they teach. So profess means admit that one is an expert. I'm going to write that in the chat. When you're done with that, time to take out our orthography notebooks. That's all for today with Latin. In your orthography notebook, we're going to write the words from today and sort in a couple of spots as well. And then we'll get started on some math. Okay. Lesson 55 is what we're doing today. Our first word is going to go with the word up here, ignorant. The first word down here is ignorance. Sorry, I started that a little bit too fast. I'm sure some of you guys are still getting to that spot, which is okay. We're on page 51. That's where lesson 55 is, page 51. Sahanasri, are you at the right spot in your notebook? Good. Thumbs up if you're ready for the next one. Okay. I know some of you are still getting to the right spot. Page 51, lesson 55, we're writing ignorance.
Miss Garner, your screen is blurry.
Is it blurry for anybody else?
Yes, for me, Miss Garner.
Right. Boys and girls, I will unplug and replug and plug it in again. And if it's still blurry, then it might be something on your side, not mine, but I will try it again. Hopefully that's a little better. If it's not, then it might be a problem on your side. So just listen to the words and try your best. Ignorance. And if you're not sure of the markings, you can look at your binder to check what we did earlier. The next one to write is interfere. Please write interfere. Syllable break. Syllable break. Silent final E. Interfere. Okay. Next is interference. Interference. Syllable break to ence. Interference. And one more word from today's lesson was patient. Patient. Please write it. Cut a syllable break and patient. Okay, the first place I'd like us to write is, let me get to it, 33. On page 33, at the bottom, I'd like us to write 2 suffixes. Because we had the ants and the ints suffixes, which mean basically the same thing. They both turn something into a noun. It's the action of some sort of performance. So interference is the ents one, and then ignorance. Interference and ignorance are the 2 examples.
Miss Gardner, your screen is really blurry.
Okay, I think that there is an internet on my end because it was slow to load. So let me try this again. This is page 33, so maybe some of you got to the right spot by listening to that. Does that look better now? Still, it doesn't? Okay, Aryancha is saying yes. Maybe it's a problem on your end. I'm sorry about that because it looks like for some people it works. So if you cannot see clearly, please turn to page 33. We're going to write the suffixes ants and ints, which means it's a noun. And for the words, we'll write interference and ignorance. Hopefully you can get to the right spot just by that. Okay, and one more spot. This is the only other place we'll write. On page 14, and the very first column of homonyms, we'll write patient. Patient means 2 things, but it's spelled the same and sounds the same. So we write it in the first column of homonyms, patient and patient. And as soon as you're done with that, you can put away your orthography notebook and take out your math notebook. Thank you all for persevering, even when things are a little bit. Hopefully the connection improves so that once we start math notes, it's a little better. Can you all see my screen pretty well? Is it fuzzy on my face or was it just fuzzy on the notes? Thumbs up if you can see me. I see some thumbs down, but also some thumbs up. So probably it's, there's nothing I can do differently if some of you can see me clearly. If you need to remove yourself and hop back on, you can do that to see if it improves if you're having a hard time with connection. Okay, now thumbs up if you can see me. Dikshit and Simhita and Kruti, it sounds like you're all having some problems with your connection. Try as much as possible to follow along. But we've got to continue moving forward. You'll have to just watch a video later if you're having a hard time with connection, maybe.
I can see everybody else. It's just yours.
Samhita, please don't speak over me. We're going to have to persevere because if some people can see and hear me, then it must be a problem on, I think, your connection. So just try to persevere as much as possible. Okay? I know it's tough. You guys are doing really well. To persevere as much as you can. Today we are going to begin long division for the first time. Now, long division is basically breaking down division into different place values. Just as we did with multiplication with longer numbers. We use division facts that we already know to solve for larger numbers, breaking it down into the hundreds, tens, and ones place. All you need for today's lesson is your notebook. That's all you need. If we have time, we'll get started on some in the workbook to get you started.
Miss Gardner.
Yes, Harika?
So for our lesson root cards, for one of them, I couldn't find my cards, so I just used paper.
Oh, great job for persevering and still doing the work, even if you can't find cards. That's great, Harika.
Yeah, I cut it out just like how the root cards look like.
I love that. That's very creative. Okay, our first, so we're going to start learning long division without remainders and regrouping. Okay, so we're going to slow it way down. Don't be overwhelmed by this at all. Okay, because basically all we're going to do is take a look at each place value in this number. And long division makes it easy so that we don't have to make a place value chart. It's just right here organized into different place values that we're dividing. Okay, so it's actually much, much simpler than using a place value chart. Now, in a number like this, 63 divided by 3. What's happening there is that we've got 6 tens and 3 ones that we want to divide into 3 groups. Can this divide into 3 groups? 63. Could 63 students divide into 3 groups? Yeah. Now, we are going to start with the biggest place value when we divide because it is the inverse of multiplication. You know how with multiplication, we always multiplied our ones and then the tens and then hundreds? With division, it's the opposite. We always start with the biggest place value that we want to divide into groups. Now, if there are 6 tens here, how can we divide those into 3 equal groups? How many would be in each of those groups? Rishith? I want to divide these 6 tens into 3 equal groups. How many is going to be in each of those groups?
21.
Oh, you're getting ahead of us, but yes, we are going to have 20 in each group, or 2 tens. Everybody see that? We just divided those into 3 equal groups, and now each group has 2 tens. In a long division problem, it would look like this. Marcus, I know you're sleepy, but you've got to lift your head up and follow along, bud. Okay. We've got tens divided into 3 equal groups. Each group has 2 tens. As we'll see with a long division problem in just a minute in our notebook, this is saying 6 tens divided into 3 groups equals 2. 2 tens per group. Now, this is the way that we are going to write our long division problem so that we can evenly separate our tens from our ones. And if we had hundreds place as well, we could have nice and even separation of our place value. So far, we have only been looking at this symbol for division, right? 63 divided into 3 groups. Well, this is the same thing, but we're just writing it in a different way so that we can separate our place value. 63 gets divided into 3 groups, and we put our answer at the top. 2 tens per group is the answer. We're going to put that on top. Now, the next step is to divide the next place value because we haven't divided the ones yet. So what we do is we multiply the 3 times the 2, multiply these, we get an answer of 6. And we are going to, so we multiply equals 6. And then they put a 0, but what we're going to do is just bring down the 3. We're going to keep bringing down that next place value to know what we divide next. So now we're going to divide 3 also into 3 groups. We are always dividing by this number here. Just like with multiplication, we always multiply by the same number. With division, we're still dividing by this number here. Now, what is 3 ones divided equally into 3 groups? Ariansh?
1.
Very good. There would be 1 in each group. So there's 21 in each of the groups. So in the long division problem, we divide that 3 into 3 groups, and we get 1 in each group. There's our answer at the top, or what we call the quotient. And we talked about remainders as the extras that don't fit equally into our groups. Do we have any remainders in this, though? No. We perfectly divided 21 into equal groups, 3 equal groups. And we can see that there are no remainders because we divided those 3 into 3 groups. The answer is 1. Then we multiply the 1 times the 3 to see if there's anything left over. But 3 minus 3 is 0. So there are none remaining. Okay. So it's good to see that concept. This is all we're doing is dividing out the place value. Now let's go through the steps. And we are going to spend basically all week long going through these long division steps and practicing, reviewing. We've got a whole week of this. So if this is feeling a little overwhelming today, it's okay. We'll have plenty of time to review. Okay. At this time, take out your notebook. We're going to write a heading and do a few problems and write out those steps. Now, I know some of you have probably done long division before, not in 2nd grade, but maybe like with your parents, or if you do any type of extra math. How many of you have done long division before? Excellent. For those of you who've done it before, do you feel pretty good about it? Like you know the steps well? Very good. So this is going to be an easy unit for you. Ms. Gardner, January 11th, 2021. This is math lesson 8.4. Tomorrow we'll get into regrouping and remainders, and then we'll keep practicing that over and over and over again for the rest of the week. So if you're feeling a little confused, We've got lots of days of practice ahead of us. Okay, so we have a fun way to remember the steps in long division. Before we do that, though, I would like us to simply write out the way that we do a long division problem. Let's take this problem 39 divided by 3. The way that we write the problem is to write the number we're dividing with half of a box around it. So we want a line on the left of the number and then a line on the top of the number. Now this number here that we're dividing into different groups is what we call a dividend. The number that we're dividing, we call a dividend. Oh, we've got a lot of problems with connection, it looks like. Thumbs up for those who are left, if you can hear me and see me. Okay, so maybe it's just a problem with other people's internet. We've had a few people drop out. Hopefully they'll get right back in. So this number that we're dividing into the different groups is called the dividend. And the number that we are dividing by, the number of groups, is called our divisor. And I'll put in parentheses number of groups, basically. For dividend, let me also write for this, it's the total. It's the amount that we're dividing into different groups. Okay? It's the total number that we're dividing. Now, we're not walking through the steps on this, but if we did, we would get an answer of 13. 39 divides into 3 groups equally, with 13 in each group. We call that the quotient, which we've already seen before, right? That's the answer to a division problem. The quotient is the answer. I'm going to put that in parentheses as well. If we wrote this problem as we did before, it would look like this. 39 divided by 3 equals 13. These are the same problem. We're now just writing our whole amount in this box with the number we're dividing by right here on the side, and our answer goes at the top. And the reason for it is that we can divide into those different place values very easily. Okay, now let's do a problem down here, actually skipping down a little bit more, where we will slowly go through each of the steps for solving. Okay, we're going to take the problem 48 and divide it by 2. Who can tell me how we'll write that problem? 48 divided by 2. Could somebody explain where it's going to go in our little box? Tiger, you doing okay? Am I going a little too fast, boys and girls?
It's not that. It's just that that problem needs a remainder, and I thought you said we weren't doing any more remainders.
There won't be a remainder. You mean 48 divided by 2, there would be a remainder?
Yeah.
No, because remember, if it's dividing an even number by 2, there will be no remainder.
Oh.
So you'll see once we do the problem. Okay, so here's 48. We want to divide it into 2 groups, right? So the way we write it is a line on the side and then a line on the top. And then we're dividing it by 2. That 2 is going to go on the left of it. Okay? Now I'm going to take out some colored pencils for the different steps in this problem. You are welcome to do the same, to use highlighters or crayons to underline if you've got anything like that as well. Okay, because that is what is really helpful when we have multiple steps to solve a problem. I can't find other colored pencils or anything at this moment, but I've got 4 colors here: red, green, blue, and orange. For our steps, we'll have to make do with that. Actually, here's a different orange. That's going to look better. Okay, time for us to divide. Ariancha, see you've got some colored highlighters. That's great. That might help you quite a bit to have these colors to show each of the steps in solving this. Oh, Josiah, you've got some colored pencils too. Very good. Okay, the first step in solving this is to divide. And one of the ways that we can remember each of these steps is dangerous monkeys swipe bananas. That's going to be the order of things that we'll do here. Can you say that with me? Dangerous monkeys swipe bananas. So the D in dangerous stands for divide. That's our first step. Dangerous monkeys. Our first step is to divide. Now, what are we going to divide? We're going to divide the largest place value first. In this one, it happens to be 4 in the largest place value, the tens place. So we're going to divide 4 into 2 groups. Now, if you divide 4 into 2 groups, what's the answer? What is 4 divided by 2? Four divided by 2. Who can tell me what the answer will be? Josiah?
2.
Good. Divide 4 into 2 groups and the answer is 2. Okay. So we're dividing it into 2 groups. The answer is 2. Basically saying 4 tens divide into 2 groups, and there's 2 in each group. Now the next step is to, M for monkeys stands for multiply. Multiply. And what do we multiply? We're going to multiply this number we just wrote times 2. And we'll see in the next few days why this is so important. But basically, this is to check to see if there's anything left over. There's no 10s left over. These are 2 groups of 2. It equals 4. So 2 times 2 equals 4. That's where we write our M multiply step. Now, the next part of our problem is S for swipe, dangerous monkeys swipe. Well, swipe, or the S stands for subtract. We're going to subtract 4 minus 4. Once again, it's saying, do we have anything left over? Well, 4 minus 4 is just 0. So no, there's nothing left over. Now, our next step is B for bananas, which stands for bring down. We're going to bring down to 8. And that's basically saying we want to bring down these 8 ones. We've already divided 4 tens. Now it's time to divide 8 ones into some groups. Okay. So B for bananas stands for bring down. We're bringing down to 8. And now we're going to divide 8. How many groups do we want to divide 8 into? Sahanasri, do you know how many groups we want to divide 8 into? We're having lots of internet problems. Can anybody tell me what we want to divide 8 into? Harika? We're dividing 8 by oh, this is a bad day to have so many internet problems. Boys and girls, if you know the answer, you can unmute to say it, because I cannot see your faces to call on you. And it seems like
by 2.
good. Thank you, Alina and Aryansh. We're going to divide 8 by 2, because this number on the side is always what we divide by. All of the numbers are going to divide by this. What is 8 divided by 2? And again, you can just unmute yourself.
4.
Good. 8 divided into 2 groups is going to be 4 in each group. So 8 divided by 2, we're starting over. We brought down that 8. Now we're going back up to the top and starting our steps again. 8 divides into 2 groups, and the answer is 4. We write that above the ones place because that's the answer in the ones place. Now, what's the next step? Again, unmute yourself if you know.
Hi.
We divided 8 into 2 groups. The answer is 4. So we've divided. What's the next step?
Bring down.
Multiply.
After the D step, it's M for
Multiply.
monkeys.
Multiply.
Multiply, that's right. Now we're going to multiply the 4 that we just wrote times 2 over here. And I'm going to put that multiplication symbol there so you can remember. We will multiply each of the place values at the top. So 4 times 2 equals what?
Did we blurt it out?
Yes.
8.
8. Thank you. And yeah, I hate to just have people blurt out, but it seems like there's so many internet problems. That's going to be the best right now. So 4 times 2 is 8. And that's just checking to see how many that we have just divided. And after we are done with the M for multiply, it's S for subtract. Which numbers do we subtract?
8 minus 8.
Excellent. Thank you, Samhita. 8 minus 8 is the next step.
And it equals 0.
0.
That's right. And 8 minus 8 equals 0. And at this time, we would do our last step of B, bring down. But do we have anything left on this side to bring down? Nope, there are no smaller place values. We have divided the smallest place value, the ones place. That's it. Okay, so the answer is this at the top, 24.
24.
Does that seem right? 48 divided into 2 groups is 24 in each group? Yeah. Okay. Thumbs up if that feels really good. You feel like you really get this long division. I know a lot of you have done this before, so it's probably a thumbs up for you if you've done it before. Sideways, if you feel like you kind of get it. Maybe you could use more practice, and thumbs down if you're feeling really lost. And it's okay if you do, because once again, we're going to spend several more days on this.
Thumbs up.
Thank you. It looks like some sideways, some down. Kruthi, I hate that you've got some problems with your internet, which make it hard to stay on. If you need to watch this video that I'm going to post on YouTube later today, maybe you'll catch some of the things that we just did. But also, if you see some other videos showing you long division on YouTube, that might be helpful to watch as well. Okay. At this time, let's take a look at what you'll do in your homework for today. You will have only numbers that will divide evenly in the homework, okay? And it's showing base 10 blocks to help you as well. This says 44 ones divided into 4 groups. Which picture shows what's happening there? 44 ones dividing into 4 groups. Does this picture show that? Or does this picture show that? A or B? Saha Nasri, would you say A, picture A, or picture B shows 44 divided into 4 groups? Oh, I hate that there's so many connection problems. If you know the answer, unmute yourself to share. Is it A or B?
B.
B.
Good. This shows 44, 4 10s and 4 1s dividing into 4 separate groups. So that's just thinking about what this problem looks like. Now down here, there are boxes for each number as you go through the steps of dangerous, monkeys, swipe, Bananas. Or steal bananas, you could also think of it. Dangerous monkeys steal bananas. So go through those steps and use your notes to help you. All of these are going to divide evenly, just like the ones we did before. Final step is to draw a line to connect the division problem with the quotient, like 82 divided into 2 groups. For those of you who are ready for a little bit of a shortcut, you could just think of this as, well, the 10s divided into 2 groups, that's 4. 2 divided into 2 groups, that's 1. 41. You can kind of do a shortcut with these in that way if you want. For example, 44 divided by 4, well, that's going to be 4 divided by 4, 1. 4 divided by 4, 1. 11. Okay, there's one for you. If you can solve these with a shortcut and not long division, then that's fine. For these, you need to use the long division steps, though. Okay, that's all for our class today. Use your notes to help you with these problems down here. You've got 3 problems to fill in. Please use your notes to help you with that. You might need to have some support from your parents as well. And starting tomorrow, we'll do some division with regrouping, and we'll stay on that lesson for about 3 days.
Bye, Miss Gardner.
Okay. Thank you guys for persevering and doing really well in class, even with connection problems.
Are they going to be reading groups?
Yes, sweetheart. I need my reading group to stay